When I say you don't know Tekken, it's in a specific way that you may not think. I'm not talking about gameplay or the competitive scene, I'm talking about the story. The about 20 plus year old story that might be the funniest comedy in history. I want to explain it to you in a comedic way. So this is Tekken lore that you probably didn't know. I also am very aware that there's a pretty popular existing Tekken lore video by Clement J64. I'm not trying to steal his idea, so I hope that you still stick around and give this one a chance, because I have sunk a lot of time into this, and I feel that I have my own way of recapping the story, no matter how crazy it is. Tekken 1, but not yet. So Heihachi Mishima fights his father. Why? I don't know, but his father loses. So Heihachi ties his father up underneath the family temple. He dies. Obviously. But why is this important? It is, just not yet. Also, apparently, it was a plot to steal the Mishima Zaibots, with Zaibots being Japanese for big, strong corporation. I also believe Heihachi hated his father, but I don't think that's canon. Anyways, Heihachi meets a woman named Kazumi, and he loves Kazumi, and they have a baby boy named Kazuya, and the three live happily until Kazuya's about 7 or 8. Just at least old enough to understand what's about to happen to him. So Kazumi has this, what they call, the devil dream, and it's really bad. So Kazumi tries to kill Heihachi. He kills her. Heihachi kills Kazumi and throws his son off a cliff. But the cliff thing was actually a test because of Kazumi's gene. If Kazuya lives, he's got the devil gene. Surprise, surprise, he does. And now on to the actual story. Tekken 1. Actually. So Kazuya grows up and hears about his father's tournament, the Iron Fist Tournament. Tekken in Japanese is for Iron, Tek, and Fist, Ken. I think that's pretty cool. Kazuya is upset because his father threw him off a cliff when he was a kid and wants to do the same to Heihachi. And he does. Kazuya fights a bunch of people, like a robot man. His name is Jack, in all caps because he's a robot. A jaguar wrestler who goes to church and donates to orphanages. That's King. We love King. A Native American Chinese woman named Michelle. She wants her family heirloom back. A woman who is going to assassinate Heihachi. Her name's Nina. She doesn't actually and becomes his friend? A Bruce Lee reference. That's a given for a fighting game. With his name being Martial Law, an American who thinks he's rivals with Kazuya, he's got a totally normal name. His name's Paul. Lastly, an ancient but simultaneously modern Robin Hood-style ninja named Yoshimitsu. And his sword is also named Yoshimitsu. But out of all these cookie characters, Kazuya's most important fight is with a man named Li Xiaolan, who was adopted by Heihachi and basically militarily trained to become Kazuya's greatest rival. So Heihachi never cared for him. Lee hated Heihachi and Kazuya, but he probably hated Heihachi more. We're not sure. After fighting Lee, Kazuya fights Heihachi, which I believe the canonical fight is the Heihachi one, where Kazuya turns into Devil. Was later renamed to Devil Kazuya, but there's a strong possibility that Devil might have been a different character. I don't think so, I just wanted to let you all be aware. Kazuya wins! Yay! And then drops the knocked out Heihachi off of a cliff. And now Kazuya owns the Mishima Zaibots. Tekken 2, but only a little bit. So I think the only things Kazuya does while in power is like... he brings back dinosaurs? So there's like Alex. He's a velociraptor who boxes. And then like Kazuya made other animals intelligent. So there's like Roger. He has a wife and kid later. And other than getting together with a woman named Jun Kazama, who's also a strong fighter, I mean, they got together. This is important to the story. Now, on to Tekken 2. Actually. So now that Heihachi is dead, what are we gonna do? Never mind, he survived the cliff also. So now it's like a writing dichotomy where now Heihachi is the underdog fighting his son. There are also way more characters. Like now there's this new Jack. There's actually two. One with a P in front of it, and the other one is a double variant of the original Jack. Like he's better. Oh, they're not new. Armor King, and I just learned a number of these roster players were playable just in locker. Only on console versions of Tekken 1. So, I'll list them now. P-Jack, Ana, Armor King, Ganryu, Kunimitsu, Kuma, and Wong. P-Jack met Prototype. They took a Jack's skin off, so now he looks like that. The Armor King was a rival of our rookie King. Our beloved King crushed his eyes, so now he's out for revenge. Ana's Nina's sister. They have daddy issues, so they fight intensely because Nina was loved more than Ana. These quarrels between sisters get drastic. It goes from Nina slapping her sister to trying to blow up her car. And it gets worse! Ganryu is the youngest sumo wrestler to become champion, but couldn't become the great champion because he was really unacceptable. I don't know, he had bad conduct? That's what I read on the Tekken Wiki. So he started to gamble and do crimes. I don't know how that helps. Ganryu wants to complete so he can prove he's a strong fighter. Or just stronger. So I don't care. Yunimitsu wants to give her grandfather Yoshimitsu the sword, not the person, because he's been trying really hard to make a Yoshimitsu sword, and he can't. I know tons about Takuma. He's a pet bear for Heihachi, and Heihachi treats him better than any of his kids. Teaching Kuma Mishima karate. Yes, they have their own form of karate for protection, I think. Kuma also has a years-long rivalry with Paul, the American guy, but I don't really know why. Wong was best friends with Heihachi's father that he killed, Jinpachi, and although Wang works closely with Heihachi, he still doesn't really agree with Heihachi's rules. This disrespectful little guy. Now we've covered these returning characters who were playable in Tekken 1, but we have a handful of new fighters. First, let's talk about Beck. Nobody knows a lot about Beck. A lot of people know Hwarang more, but I'm going to talk about Beck. He's an orphan. His father was an acclaimed Taekwondo master until he received an injury that retired him. Then Beck's father turned to alcohol, got arrested. Then Beck's mother disappeared and left Beck alone. Then his father broke out of prison to help, only to die of malnourishment while sparring his son. So Beck accidentally killed him. Now Beck is a Taekwondo master fighting for his dojo and against being blackmailed because of his father's past. That was heavy. We need a palate cleanser. Let's talk about Bruce. With a name like that, his life couldn't have been too bad. Bruce was an acclaimed Muay Thai fighter. I need to stop using that word. And was so good when he fought the popular Muay Thai champion, he basically ensured he'll never fight again, signing Bruce into the Muay Thai Gambling Association, then flying home. A contracted assassin tried to kill him, but then a Hong Kong police officer, we'll get to him later, stopped the assassin and the plane crashed. When the Mishima Zaibatsu found him under Kazuya, he was surviving off of human remains. On top of that, he also lost his memory. Oh my gosh. Legit, what is wrong with these origins? They're scary and dark. Here, we got that police officer to talk about. His name is Lei Wulong. Let's talk about him. Lei Wulong is like the best detective in Hong Kong police force. His friend was killed by an international mafia. I didn't know that existed. But he discovered that it's linked to Kazuya. So he's fighting for his friend. That's great. Better than the other two. But here are all the new characters in Tekken 2 and probably all the people Heihachi fights. So now, what is Heihachi gonna do now that he's defeated him? Throw him into an active volcano, of course! Ha! That'll keep him dead! Tekken 3. But before. So this one probably has the most information surrounding the in-between time. You know, Jun Kazama, the woman Kazuya was with. Well, she had a son and sheltered him. Jun definitely didn't want her son knowing that half of him was the despised Mishima, so she taught him Kazuma karate. Yes, they also have their own style too, but soon enough, Jun's son, whom she named Jin, will have to come to the terms with his other half. So Heihachi, being Heihachi, started a Tekken force for literally no reason. I have no reason why he did this, but the Force starts excavating a Central American artifact. When they awaken, this ogre starts killing fighters. I have a list. King! Wait, no! I hear you yell, we love King! I know, me too, but it's okay, we got King too, baby! And he strained my armor king. That's weird. And other deaths are nobody. Everyone else went missing? I thought they were dead. But Ogre does kill one more person, Jun Kazama. So now Jin will have to meet his toxic grandpa Heihachi, who immediately gets rid of Jin's Kazama karate in order of Mishima karate. He's also just using Jin to get Ogre because he feels Ogre's power can help him rule the world. Tekken 3, for real. So now it's time for Jin to fight up this roster. Who are the newbies? So you know Beck? You most likely know Hwarang. He often hangs around Beck's dojo. He does gambling. Almost everyone does in this darn series. With a team that stacks their odds against themselves so they make the most money, hiding their actual strength that they have. One day, while Heihachi and Jin are walking around, Hwarang challenges Jin, and he only ties, making Hwarang a sworn rival of Jin. Now I want to talk about Nina. She has amnesia, specifically around her sister, until in a future game when she sees her sister and her memory returns from the sheer anger that Anna gives her. Why does Nina have amnesia? She was forced by her father? I don't know. To become a test subject for Heihachi in cryosleep. Some important plot details happen in the future because of that cryosleep, so I just wanted you to know. Nina now wants to assassinate Jin? I don't really know why. Although Nina was forced into cryosleep, Anna wanted to do it? She was jealous? And the duo reawakened a large number of years later when Ogre was released. So let's check in on good old Paul. I guess he forfeited in Tekken 2 because he was in a traffic jam? So he just wants to win. Respectable. I like it. On to the newbies. Eddie Gordo. Oh, you know who that is. Eddie was rich, his father being a rich and honorable man working to fight against a drug cartel in their hometown. But when his father built up enough evidence against the drug cartel, he died. But he told Eddie to take the fall and get arrested. In prison, Eddie meets an old capoeira master and learns capoeira from him. After release, Eddie now wants the Mishima Zaibots to help in his revenge plot. Brian Fury, a zombie? Reanimated by a scientist named Dr. Abel, who was upset that the scientist Dr. Baskanovich, that's the man who made Alex and Roger, the sentient animals. Also saved by Yoshimitsu, Brian Fury might have been a good detective, but he had dark ties. Now he's just going to gain information on the Mishima Zaibots and beat up Yoshimitsu, because he's friends with Dr. Baskanovich. Gun Jack is like this game's Jack 3, he's a beast of Jack, but I have to talk about the saddest fighting game character ever now. Meet Forrest Law. He was supposed to be a replacement for Law, the one with Marshall in front of his name, with him just being dragged into the tournament by Paul. He wouldn't return until Tekken 5 and TTT2. I'll explain what that means later. He was in his father's shadow canonically and in the meta. So. Julie has the adoptive daughter, Michelle, who was fighting for her family's treasure back in the first game. I guess during the second tournament, Heihachi stole another heirloom. Not the one that Michelle was fighting for in Tekken 1. So Julia leaves to go kindly ask old Heihachi why he stole it. He won't mind. Mokujin is a 2,000-year-old tree carved into a training dummy. When Ogre woke up, dang, Ogre sent ripples. Mokujin is now awake. Being Mokujin. He has like a mom. Saw that in the cutscene. It was funny. Zhao Yu goes to Heihachi Mishima's school. It's not open yet in canon, but it's going to be. He bought it so Jin could go there during his training. Zhao Yu is a distant relative to Wong. Wow. And she wants an amusement park in China, and the Zaibots has money, so she's trying to win to get that amusement park built. Whew. Now on to the final ending. Jin beats everyone in the tournament, and this brings in Ogre. They fight. Ogre goes into his true form. Jin harnesses something that and kills him. Then Jin is attacked by the Tekken Force and Heihachi shoots Jin in the head. But Jin's okay. He sprouts his Devil Jin form, slamming Heihachi through a wall and flying away into Tekken 4. Tekken 4, but pre-Tekken. Heihachi was able to receive some of Ogre's biological material, and when trying to fuse it into him, Heihachi learns that he needs the Devil Gene. But after shooting his grandson in the head, he disappeared. But Heihachi does come across a picture that looks like a burnt-up Kazuya, but that isn't Kazuya. He's actually been revived by a company named G Corporation. And when Hachi sends in some Tekken Force members to retrieve Kazuya's body, they all get ambushed by Kazuya, and he talks trash into a Tekken Force body cam. At his father, Heihachi wants the darn gene, so he starts up the next Tekken tournament. Tekken 4. For real, for real. So let's talk about our returning differences and then our new characters. Bad boy Brian Fury is about to die, and the only person who can help save him is Dr. Abel, but he works with Heihachi. So now Brian is fueled with rage because Heihachi took his primary healthcare provider. Now he's going to fight in the tournament to get him back. Eddie Gordo, he's missing. Canonically he's missing, but he's still playable? I hate it when fighting games do that. Looking for his father's killers. So, on to Hwarang, who got freaking drafted. But obviously, he doesn't listen, and he has dreams of returning to fighting. So when the next tournament comes around, Hwarang is riled up and determined to win. Jin wants to destroy the bloodline. This becomes pretty standard with Jin, especially with him loathing everything about the Mishimas, including the Devil Gene. So now meet Angsty Boy Jin, which you'll have to live with for the rest of the franchise. Julia is now a nerd, an ecosystem scientist who wants to save her homeland from a rapid desert because of global ecosystem damage. It's like global warming, but really, really bad. And when doing her research through the G Corporation, only for it to be stolen by the Mishima Zaibots, she now wants to get it back. Armor King died, so King 2, the one that was taught by Armor King, wants the murderer to pay. So King 2 pays for that man to get out of prison and sends him a ticket to compete? Huh. He is very admirable. Anyway, so I guess Kuma and Paul fought and Kuma lost, so now he wants to regain his animal side in the wilderness. After watching TV through some villagers' windows, he heads to the next tournament. Martial law established a Chinese food chain, but immediately lost it to another Chinese food chain, then filed for bankruptcy. So now he wants money from the tournament to start up his food chain again. Lee was disowned. After siding with Kazuya in a prior tournament, Tekken 2, Lee wanted revenge, but he resolved that Heihachi was going to die soon anyways. Lee finds G-Core stop being sold and pieces together the steps that Heihachi's general plan, so he enters the tournament under a different name, calling himself Violet and dyeing his very obviously hair white, silver for hair for a young man, purple, because he was disowned. Lei's life got turbulent. He gets dumped, and then messes up a crime syndicate crackdown, and then is put on suspension. But soon after the tournament is announced, Lei is informed that a boxer participating is going to be assassinated by the same syndicate that he failed to take down. Now he is trying to prove his worth. Nina is that assassin, hired to take on a new character named Steve. You know how I told you about Nina's cryo sleep? It's about to be important. So, Paul damaged Ogre back in the last tournament, but Ogre turned into true Ogre after Paul left. So now Paul wants to prove that he's strong and that he won the last tournament. Zhao Yu is looking for Jin. She's also randomly informed that Heihachi is doing bad things. She has a crush on Jin, so she wants to see him again. I haven't talked about Yoshimitsu just because his stick is that he's helping people. Anyways, he wants to bond his ninja clan, the Manji clan, with the Mishimas. Now on to the new characters. Marduk, he's that depraved criminal that killed Armor King. But I guess his life was pretty bad before he killed Armor King in a bar in Arizona. Give him a break. He was really good at Veltudo. I have no idea what fighting style that is. It sounds goofy. But after being tied up in a scandal, he was ejected out of the Veltudo fighting community. So after being in his feelings, he started a bar fight and killed Armor King. Christy is the granddaughter of the old man that Eddie Gordo learned capoeira from. When Eddie got out of prison, he taught Christy capoeira as well. Now that Eddie is missing, she thinks the tournament will help her find him. That's a bit weird. Steve Fox, acclaimed boxer. He is Nina's cryosleep baby. What? Oh, you want me to elaborate? Oh shoot, okay. He was Heihachi's experiment to make superhumans, and while most died, he didn't. but he bonded with a woman named Emma Cleason. She's tied to a later character. Steve escapes the scientific lab and gets adopted and grows up to become a boxing champ by the time this next tournament comes. So now it's time for the climax. No, it's not. Slow down. I know this video is very long and very comedically out of order, but I hope that you're enjoying it so far. We got like 6 more games to cover. We got this. I really want to cover the ending of King 2, because it's actually really cool. King 2 and Marduk fight, with King 2 beating Marduk and throwing him into the hospital. While in the hospital, King was going to kill Marduk, but he didn't. Marduk, however, is ticked off, puts on Armor King's mask to mock King 2, continuing their rivalry. Now on to the end of the game. Kazuya is supposed to fight Jin at the end of this match, but he's kidnapped and taken to the family temple. Kazuya is announced the winner, but Kazuya proceeds to fight his father. Side note, I feel like a lot of people will continue to be ticked off if I keep calling the family temple. It's called Hanmaru, and I will now continue to call it Hanmaru. At this final fight, Kazuya loses. He loses and is taking the Hanmaru like Jin. Heihachi has locked Jin up between some pillars like a criminal from the olden days. Now there is confirmation that the devil Kazuya was a different guy. And he starts telling Heihachi how happy he is that Heihachi found Jin, and now the devil side of Kazuya is about to take parts of Jin's devil gene. When he goes to do it, he can't because the Kazamas, I guess, had Jin covered. But Kazuya regains control, now completely becoming Devil Kazuya. Jin wakes up from his peasant chains and fights Devil Kazuya and wins. And then Jin fights Heihachi, who is still there, by the way. Jin starts his wings, about to kill Heihachi, and then his mother scolds him to not kill his grandpa. So then Jin says, "Yes, ma'am," and still delivers some sass by telling Heihachi to thank his mom. Then he flies away. Tekken 5. But like 5 minutes after Tekken 4. Tekken 5's opening is canon, and starts inside Hanmaru with Kazuya and Heihachi waking up to an attack of like 100 Jack 4s. And Heihachi and Kazuya fight together like a father and son who hate each other. After a tad bit, Kazuya just like straight up jumps out of Hanmaru, leaving Heihachi to explode with a mysterious character standing on the mountain close by to Hanmaru. Speaking to his communicator, he tells somebody that Heihachi Mishima is dead. Jin absolutely kind of freaks out, but in these dreams, he's told that the devil gene is going to get him. Woo! With Hanmaru exploding, guess who woke up? Jinpachi, Heihachi's father, who's been dead for like years. Some dark force has overtaken him and forced him to reawaken. Jinpachi starts the next tournament. Tekken 5. But the tournament. We all know the deal, what's happening with the oldies before we get to our newbies. I want to talk about King 2 and Marduk in this game, so let's get to it. King 2 is livid after hearing about Marduk's disgraceful actions about Armor King, so King 2 is going to beat him up. Julia tries to fight King 2 and tells King 2 to calm down. King 2 still wins and goes on to fight Marduk. The two actually reconcile and become tag team partners. Wow, I did not expect that one. That's cool. Why are both kings so nice and cool? All the kings are like the best characters. Beck is back. Let's talk about Beck. He got attacked and got knocked out. When he reawakens, some military guy tells him to teach Taekwondo in the military. Beck obviously had nothing better to do, so he does. Someone else asks him about Hwarang, and the two reunite. That's kinda it. Bruce just kinda got bored working for the Mishima Zaibots, so he just became a mercenary, but now he's bored again, and he feels something is shady about this tournament, so he's excited too. So good for him. So Nina disappeared after failing to stop Steve. She decided to contact her sister to drum up some memories. Basically, I told you something out of order. She regained her memory in this game. When Nina sees Anna, the sheer anger brings back their intense rivalry. The two have a days-long shootout with no winner until the tournament rolls around, where they will finally settle things. I feel bad for the people who had to sit through multiple days of two sisters having a gun-riddled shootout in their town. I would have been ticked off. Because Brian is back, I'm pretty sure he got a hold of Dr. Abel. Oh, he let Dr. Boskanovich work on him. Now he's going to live longer because of the power generator implanted into him. Rad. Brian straight up leaves the doctor and just kills people because he can. Obviously, Brian enters the tournament. He really likes the power generator. Christy's grandpa, who was in prison, is okay. No, he isn't. He has an incurable illness. But the Mishima Zaibots might be able to help cure it. So Christy enters the tournament. Eddie is worried about Christy's grandfather, as that he was his capoeira master. with Eddie placing him into the hospital. Eddie enters the tournament as well to find a cure. Basically the same thing Christy is doing. They literally have the same ending. They're like copies of each other. Yeah, Eddie is a skin swap for Christy. This is where Ganryu becomes more of a joke character, because he really liked Michelle Chang, the Native American Chinese woman from some of the prior games. Although he was rejected by her, he was retiring in Hawaii by opening up a dojo. While watching the tournament, he saw Julia, and now he's in love again and races off to propose to her. I guess. Honestly, Ganryu is not that entertaining. It gets my nerves. So I'm assuming Harang just went AWOL to participate in the last tournament, because before he got to fight Jean, they took him into custody. But now it's okay. He's free, and now he can fight Jean. Honestly, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. I laughed reading about this on the wiki. Julia is still a nerd, doing forest stuff, and she needs money to enter the tournament. Okay. Kuma beats Paul, but is now depressed that Heihachi died. Aww. So now he's going to fight in the tournament for him. Little buddy is thinking he could save the Zaibots. Martial law is saving up money for his son Forrest Law, because Forrest injured himself on Paul's motorcycle. How did he do that? Also, Marshall cannot build up his Chinese restaurant a second time. Lee thought Kazuya was dead from the events of Tekken 2, so he was flabbergasted and absolutely whooped by Kazuya because he was so confused. Now he's entering the newly announced tournament to get revenge. I guess Lee hates Kazuya and Heihachi. I don't know why. Lei is just doing cop things. Someone has been ransacking JoJo's in China, and I guess in Japan it's a tiny bit. So Lei enters the tournament to protect the tournament. Mokujin's just being Mokujin. He's supposed to be a protector, but he does nothing except have a Moku family. He has one of those. Paul becomes overconfident. Wow, I wonder who told him. And so now he wants to actually work on himself by entering the tournament. Now Steve Fox knows his true birth and identity, and now the Mishima Zaibots must come to an end by the hands of a British boxer. I don't think only you alone can do that one, mate. Wong also wants to destroy the Mishima Zaibots. He was so old, I thought he died. But now he's here to stop Jinpachi. I guess Zhao Yu was really fond of Heihachi, so she cried about his death? Okay. Now she wants to pay for a time machine so she can get him back. On to our new characters of this game. Asuka! Asuka Kazama! Kazama? I hear you question. There's more? Yes, there's more, you silly goose. She's in the Mishima Kazama Family Dinner Dream Sequence Lars ending cinematic from TTT2. I am not joking. There is a cinematic like that. Look it up. It's probably the best one. So Asuka entered because her father was attacked by somebody, but she doesn't know who. Lei apparently knows and tells her to enter the tournament because the perpetrator might be there too. Why does he know? How does he know? It's insane how intertied Lei is with everyone. You know, he saved Bruce on the plane during the events prior to Tekken 2. How does this guy know everything? Asuka is also like Jean's cousin or something, but one time Harada, or Katsuhiro Harada, is the Tekken director. I'm not sure how long he's been on the project, but he dictates a lot of stuff. This man said it was complicated. What do you mean? Anyways, chew on that. Feng Wei is a violent man who killed his master. I think he was ransacking dojos. I think Asuka's ending has her confront him, but she loses. Not for sure if it's canon though. Raven is just his codename, but there is no background info on him. He's really good at his intelligence day job. He wants to see what's going on with the tournament. So Jinpachi is actually the one who contacted Wong, telling him to kill him and the entire bloodline because Heihachi was a really bad boy. So I guess Heihachi's actions caused that evil being to awaken Jinpachi. That sucks. Jean enters the tournament, beats everyone up, and makes it to Jinpachi, who started the tournament so someone strong enough can kill him. Before the evil entity starts wreaking havoc, Jean kills his great-grandpa, turning him into dust and smiling deviously as now Jean owns the entire Mishima Zaibots. Tekken 6. Disaster strikes. I'm not joking when I say this. This is with sincerity. This is what canonically happened. And it's all for a stupid reason. Listen closely. Jean starts World War III. I'm going to let that sit. Let me say it again. Jean starts World War 3. I am so serious. This is what happens. This is how it's explained. Wiki says he declares war against all nations. It's so real. It feels like a joke, but it isn't at all. Kazuya now owns G Corporation, and the last owner tried to kill him, but that's alright. Now Kazuya's the only guy who can realistically attack Gene. So he does, putting a bounty on his own son's head. So then Gene starts the tournament to destroy G Corporation and kill his father? Tekken 6. Now there's a tournament on top of war. Let's see how everyone is dealing with this insane predicament. Anna wants revenge and learns secret information that Nina is working with the Mishimas, so she joins G Corporation to fight Nina. Anna wants revenge because she lost in the last tournament. So there's another Armor King. We don't know who he is. Asuka wants to fight Fang, so I guess she didn't. That ending was non-canon. Asuka really enters the tournament to put Gene to justice for his warmongering actions. During the last tournament, Hwoarang was injured greatly, I believe by Devil Gene. So Hwoarang enters along with Beck. Now Beck is back! He and Hwoarang trained their hardest they've ever trained going into this tournament. Bruce and Kazuya are like best buddies again, doing work against the Mishima Zaibots during the war. Bruce helped Kazuya completely take over G-Core in the last tournament. Bruce is in the tournament to capture Gene. So I guess Brian couldn't fully test out his generator, but he can antagonize armies. So he just started beating armies in the time until the next tournament was announced. Christy is confused because Eddie disappeared when he said he'll help her grandpa. But now her grandpa is being helped by the Mishima Zaibots, but Christy doesn't know who did it. So now she's entering the tournament to find out. So I didn't touch this game because I wasn't super for sure how well it fit into the timeline. This game is Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, with it being an arcade game turned into a PSP title and then placed on the PS3. It's literally the same story as Tekken 5, but with 3 more characters: Lily, Dragunov, and Armor King 2, all of whom returned in Tekken 6. So I'll go ahead and cover them in the new character segment, although they're not new. I don't know why anyone would play a freaking Tekken game on PS3. Why would you do that? Eddie Gordo became a chump and begged Gene to save their old capoeira master. And Gene helps by forcing Eddie to become a Tekken Force member. Eddie does it anyway because he wants to save his dear master. Fang really wanted these ancient scrolls that held the most powerful fighting style, breaking into the Mishima Zaibots to retrieve it, only to be met by one teaching in these scrolls: destroy all other fighting styles and become the supreme one. Feng Wei travels the globe and is excited to get stronger by entering the next tournament. Gan Ryu tried to propose to Julia by accidentally finding the ecosystem reforestation info, but when he proposed, she only took the information. Now Gan Ryu is trying to promote his sumo cuisine restaurant through the tournament. Heihachi just woke up from his nap in Tekken 5. He wants the Zaibots back, and who can blame him? A lot of people can blame him. It's honestly kind of sad. Gene started this entire war to kill a being named Azazel, who told him in his dreams that he was the originator of the Devil Gene, and also he'll destroy the world if he had a body, but only chaos will help him create a body. Gene resolves that he'll erupt the world into chaos and kill Azazel now, because Gene hates the Mishimas and the Devil Gene, and killing Azazel will rid the world of the Gene. So that's exactly what Gene does. Julia hears a prophecy that if Gene and Kazuya fight, a great evil will destroy the earth, Azazel. So she enters the tournament. King 2 is a loyal buddy, and after hearing about Marduk being assaulted by an Armor King, he's going to look and stop the attacker. Kuma got absolutely crushed by Gene when he tried to save the Mishima Zaibots during the last tournament. Now Kuma has extreme resolve to beat Gene up and still save the Zaibots because he thinks it's in trouble. Martial Law got deported during the events of the last tournament and is still trying to pay Forrest's medical bills. He re-enters the tournament. Lee got bored of the last tournament when it was Jinpachi running it, not Kazuya, who he wanted to fight because he thought Kazuya was dead. Lee still wants to fight Kazuya, so he enters the tournament using a G Corporation stockholder free ticket. That's nice. Lei is just trying to arrest Fang because Fang likes to kill people and stuff. But Gene started World War III. Lei is going to put Gene to justice. Mokujine's trying to save the world because Mokujin doesn't have anything better to do except for wasting a roster slot. I don't like this guy. Paul is becoming sort of a planner after losing the last tournament. Now Paul has to deal with debt. So he teams up with his best buddy Martial Law, and Martial Law tries to get Steve Fox to help them all win the tournament. So Raven fought Heihachi. So I guess Heihachi didn't just wake up. Wipe that from your memory. But he had to leave before the two can finish that fight. Now with the war and G Corporation's actions against the Mishima Zaibots, Raven wants to stop it. Steve didn't want to destroy the entire Mishima Zaibots. He only wanted to destroy the science facility he was born in. He did. Steve Fox destroyed that facility, but because of the war, boxing shut down and Steve got depressed. Aww. But Paul and Law called our British boy up, and they all entered the tournament. Let's go. Wong is still not dead. Not that I want him dead, just the fact that he hasn't died already is pretty absurd. Anyway, Wong got his face caved in by Gene, and he sort of admired him for his tunnel-visioned, ultimate violent and loathing pan over destroying the Mishima's bloodline. Wong felt bad because he didn't want to kill Jinpachi, but he remembers a time when he wasn't so old. Sorry, no, indifferent. So he enters the last tournament, Tekken 6 is Wong's last appearance, trying to pay for his lack of action. Calm down, Wong. You're an old man. Nobody is mad at you. Zhao Yu is going to make her boyfriend not kill his grandfather because she loves Heihachi so much. I don't know why Zhao Yu is obsessed with Heihachi. Just doubled on top of the fact that Heihachi's a bad father, grandfather, and adopted father. Basically, why would he care if Zhao Yu is standing up for him anyway? So, onto our new characters, since I didn't really focus on Dark Resurrection. Armor King's ending shows Marduk digging up Armor King's grave, showing that Armor King was still in his grave, but the new Armor King rolls up along with King 2. Basically, the new Armor King tells him that the old Armor King is his brother, making the new Armor King 2. On the wiki, it is said that it was implied by the ending cutscene that Armor King had heart issues? Why would they add that if it was clear that he was murdered? Also, Armor King 2 hates Marduk, obviously. Dragunov is kind of boring. He's supposed to capture Devil Gene, so he enters the tournament to get him. I guess Lily, or her actual name, no, joke, is Emily de Rochefort. Don't get mad at me if I said that incorrectly. She also, I guess, didn't have a story until they updated Tekken 6 titled Bloodline Rebellion. Anyways, she got grounded because she entered the last tournament without her father's permission, but her father probably found out because Lily got mollywopped by Asuka. But the Mishima Zaibatsu starts up this whole Monopoly war-based thing, so the de Rochefort oil field is stolen. Lily can only help by entering the tournament. So Dr. Boskanovich is actually a goated doctor. No wonder Dr. Abel was ticked. Dr. Boskanovich made an anime girl. That's Elisa. She was made to help Jean, but she ends up helping Lars. But I'll get into their story later. Since I brought him up, let's talk about the family issues surrounding Lars. Lars Alexanderson used to be a Tekken Force member, but he thought Jean was tripping out, so he started a rebellion called Yggdrasil. Lars also gets blown up and loses his memory, so he pals around with Elisa until some realizations that I'll just tell you about now. The Scenario campaign, which was like Tekken story mode. It's absurdly long, and you basically fight everyone on the roster as Lars, with Elisa being a Pokédex for each of the characters. Lars fights Heihachi, and get this, Heihachi got intimate with a woman in Scandinavia during an operation? Woo! I'm so happy to talk about this. This makes Lars the best character ever. Just in entirety. Best Tekken character. Don't at me. Anyways, I'll conclude the rest about this campaign after covering the other new characters. Miguel, he's a wild man with a very dark side. After the Mishima Zaibatsu airstrike, the one that started World War III, he's going to kill Jean. And that's Miguel. Cool guy. Leo Cleason. Do you remember anyone else named Cleason? Huh? Wake up, you gotta pay attention. It's Emma, the woman that helped young Steve Fox escape the Mishima Zaibots. Leo wants to know why, when her mother was killed, the investigation surrounding it was cut short. Leo also wants to get revenge at Kazuya for her mother, so when she enters the tournament. A little factoid here. Leo was supposed to be gender neutral, not wanting the character's gender playing into the character's story. But shortly after Leo was confirmed to be female, but in recent news, it's been reverted back to gender neutrality. I still believe Leo is confirmed to be female, even displayed with masculine desires or referred to as a male. Bob's a big guy and uses like a sense of misdirection because he's overweight. People think he's physically slow, but he's an agile martial arts practitioner. He also gained the weight and agility to beat fighters bigger than him. Bob also accidentally lost weight in his ending, appearing in TTT2. Zafina is a very integral to the story, being a very powerful woman who predicted the whole Azazel thing. She actually figured out that Jean and Kazuya will seal away Azazel after waking him up. That's weird. Anyways, on to the end. Lars and Elisa run around beating people up, gathering info to go into Azazel's resting place. Lars teams up with Raven, absolute power move, and the two fight Kazuya. Lars tells Kazuya they're related, and Kazuya dips because he can't believe he's related to a Scandinavian. Then Lars defeats Azazel, and they think he dies. Lars is ticked off at Jean, because about 5 in-canon hours ago, Jean took a control of Elisa, because she was made for Jean. Lars and Raven beat up the robot anime girl. She goes back to her prior self, and Jean starts being robo-racist. And Lars fights him because that's his anime robot girlfriend. You're not gonna talk trash on Lars's anime robot girlfriend. Lars doesn't stand for that, and he's Heihachi's half-son. Lars wins because he's the game's protag. He can't lose. And Jean explains that he made himself the sole protector of the Earth by destroying it because the Earth sucks. Jean tells him that the World War III thing, it was for the funsies, just so Jean could kill Azazel. Lars thinks Azazel is dead, but Azazel's not, so Jean transforms to kill the guy, because the rule to kill Azazel is if you have the devil gene yourself. Thought you should know. Raven also finds Jean, but Jean still has the gene, so basically the entirety of the large-scale war and killing people and rebel armies and everything was for nothing. Jean killed innocent people, stole people's property and land, and endangered so many people. For a plan that he didn't know fully worked, apparently. I kinda hate the story of Tekken 6. I feel Jean's actions betray his character. Tekken 7. Wow, we actually made it. Before the tournament, obviously. Some journalist wants to know why the Mishimas hate each other. Also, his wife died in Jean's war. See why it was stupid? He basically sees everything and the game is like in his definitive story. Randomly, slightly. I don't know why they went this route. Anyways, Tekken 7's tournament. I ran out of funny things. Elisa just kinda hangs out with Lee and Lars, helping them protect sleepy boy hypersomniac Jean. She almost hurts Lee, but quickly remembers. Elisa's more integral to the plot, basically, but also doesn't do much. It's really weird. I think Asuka lost to Lily, and now Lily's being a jerk, and Asuka's going to beat her up again. Brian is committing war crimes. Surprised Brian isn't on the hit list. Someone's hit list, I'm surprised still. And he beats up Bob. Cool. Dragunov fights Master Raymond, the woman who taught Raven to be so cool. But Raven should have been in 7, not gonna lie. Dragunov wins. I've kind of realized that the characters outside of the story mode have nothing going on. This is kind of sad because Tekken 6 was nothing like that. Feng Wei is still trying to kill every other martial artist master. Feng and Hua fight. Feng wins. Huarang is looking for Jean after he disappeared immediately after plunging the world into World War III. King 2 wants to fight for the cash prize. His orphanage went through a lot during World War III. Also, King 2 helps in mediating a beef between Marduk and the original Armor King? I'm unsure on this. I think it's actually Armor King 2, and King 2 helps facilitate a retirement match between the two. Lars is integral to the plot, because that journalist tries to kill Jean, but Lars is a good brother and assures the journalist that Jean will help save the world. Don't know where he got the idea from, but that's nice that he believes so. Leo is still searching for her parents, fights Yoshimitsu, beats him up, then leaves. Lily slaps the mess out of Asuka, telling Asuka it was her fault for being Asuka. Lily wins canonically. I can't believe this happened. Law is still playing off forced medical bills. Also, Law needs somebody to run the dojo, so he goes and gets Feng Wei. Law gangs up on Feng with Paul, only for Feng to scare them away? I thought Law was better than that. Paul beats up a panda. Panda, the bear, that's given to Xiaoyu by Heihachi. Why did Heihachi do that? I don't know. Paul gets gaslit and leaves the arena. Steve Fox, looking back into his fast for the first 13th time, finally gets pointed to Nina. He fights Nina. Nina tells him about the experience. Steve puts it together that he's basically her kid. Nina says she'll be a deadbeat parent and never love Steve. Then the Tekken Force roll up, so Steve defends Nina? Why? She literally just said she didn't love him. What? Zhao Yu breaks into the Mishima Zaibots looking for Jean because she's worried. Then she fights Claudio, a new character. We'll discuss him later. And she wins. Claudio agrees to help Zhao Yu with Jean. About Jean, his half-asleep body is just laying around in the story. He is the most significant in the ending, where he says he's gonna kill Kazuya, so let's hope he does that in Tekken 8. Nina does the worst thing you could ever do. She kills Anna's husband as they were getting married. So, she's also like best pals with Heihachi in this game, barring literally everything he's done to her in this franchise. The cryosleep baby superhuman thing is like everything. The only reason Nina is working for Heihachi is because she was beaten senseless by him. She was also acting leader for a short time, but Nina still sort of works with him through the story, trying to retrieve Jean from Violet Systems. That's Lee's private company, where they put Elisa after the events of Tekken 6. Bob fights Brian, but he wins in his own story. Odd. Eddie finally found his father's killers. It's one guy, and that one man is Kazuya. But as Eddie goes to exact revenge, a hated new character steps in his path. A very hated new character. But we'll talk about her later. Lee just kind of feels like he was forced into the plot. That's what his bio sounds like. Kuma wasn't present for his fight against Paul. It's implied that he mysteriously dropped out. But Kuma now is also a Tekken Force member. That's Kuma's reward for trying to fight for the Zaibots? More work? Miguel is still trying to kill Jean, because Miguel really loved his sister. Miguel fights Jean, but I don't know who fully wins. He might have lost because he was so sleepy. Anna's out for revenge! Nina killed her husband. Also, while pretending to be the bride, Nina stole her wedding dress, then messed it up. That was probably really expensive, not going to lie. Lei took a tiny, itty little break, because Lei can do everything except for his actual job. He's also a fan of that hated new character, so Marduk's gonna do that retirement fight with Armor King too. So on to Julia, who's still a nerd, but now she's an influencer, YouTuber creator. She needs to spread the reforestation project, because apparently it works, but then it still needs crowdfunding to happen? Honestly, by now, Julia's homeland probably has been consumed by desert. If she still doesn't have the resources for it 4 games later, I think that in Tekken 6, they said it was working, but I guess on a larger scale? After thinking over this, it's reforestation, like stuff people try to do nowadays. Duh, ignore the rants, but I'm gonna leave that in for comedic value. So Julia realizes the meme potential in fighting Devil Kazuya, and how fighting him will help her get funded on GoFundMe, Kickstarter, and Patreon all at the same time, helping her with her nerdy reforestation stuff. Julia also says like and subscribe. Hype of Gygus uses it, and when I saw it, I thought it was a mod, so. Zafina is still trying to prevent Azazel from reawakening, so she's going to kill Jean and Kazuya or something. I don't care. Ganryu! Oh! Ha! Man, what is this sucker doing now? It better not be trying to get with Julia. I think that's an odd plot point. Well, it's worse. Ganryu donates all of his restaurant earnings to Julia. Of course, because the owner of a flourishing business would give all of his money away. That makes perfect sense. Ganryu wants to get all his money back. Jeez, get a life. Finally, I got all the oldies out of the way, because these newbies are a doozy. Lucky Chloe. Why do people hate her? Because Chloe antagonizes Eddie. That and the fact that Eddie Gordo wasn't originally in Tekken 7. Well, until the console release. But still, she did a sort of capoeira and she was a girl, but wasn't even Christy. It's sort of a misstep for Tekken in this case. I don't think the character is that bad, though. In all honesty, she's fine. Katarina is a nobody, literally, every time I've seen her. A handful of times. And every time I have, I immediately scratch my head and question who she is. She's looking for her adoptive father and likes to swear. Shaheen helps high-ranking officials, and when his friend dies, it hit him hard. But right after his death, the company his friend ran is completely bought out by G Corporation, along with all of the former staff stepping down. Shaheen wants to know what's going on. Josie Rizal does kickboxing. While training, Kuma jumps her, but after she beats Kuma, he returns her earring. I don't know when she lost it. Gygas is an experiment born from a Mishima Zaibat's G Corporation arms race. Gygas also hates Heihachi. Gygas is Katarina's father. Master Raven is not Raven for some reason. She ranks higher than him and fights Dragunov. Eliza is a vampire who overslept 600 years. But now, she doesn't have any powers. She fights Claudio because he has strong blood. Then Lily tells Eliza they're related. Eliza, being the smartest character in canon at this point, disputes Lily, telling her that she's over 1,000 years old. How would they be related? Leroy to the Smith is an elderly man who accidentally wandered into a Tekken 3 Netflix anime. Look it up. He wants to kill Heihachi because Heihachi blew up Leroy's neighborhood when he was a kid. So, Fakum Ra, yes, that's how it's pronounced, is Tekken's hardcore, edgy attempt at a Sagat. He is captured? Like he's being forced to fight. That's sad. But at least he took Guile's advice and is fighting for the safety of his family. A real family man. Lydia's the last newbie. Is Polish? She's Polish. And a prime minister. Dang. I only really remember seeing her get attention because she brought back an old Tekken stage. Okay. Do you remember at the very beginning of the video when I spoke about Heihachi's wife Kazumi? The one he killed. Well, Kazumi has friends in alternate universes because just guess who arrives in the story mode. No, oh wait, have you seen anything about Tekken 7? You've seen this. You're probably geeking out, waiting for me to tell those who don't know in the audience. Akuma appears. He was told by Kazumi way back when to kill Heihachi if she died. So now he is here. But why didn't he kill Heihachi way back when? You're asking? Heihachi was too weak for Akuma then. Now Akuma will have a real challenge. This reads as a bad Capcom fanfic, and it lends to this insane story. So Akuma buries Heihachi, and then goes to harass Kazuya, prompting Devil Kazuya to knock his father's satellite, further tarnishing the Mishima Zaibots. Then Akuma leaves until the end of the story, where the boiling blood of Kazuya and Heihachi comes to a head on a volcano. The two fight, and I mean, this final fight is long, while Lars, Lee, Elisa, and the journalist watching this all unfold on TV. The two fight and fight with Heihachi cheating death until the ultimate abusive father, grandfather, adoptive father, wife killer, and horrid son dies, fully being dropped off into the volcano. But guess who it is? Akuma, and he fights Kazuya, still needing to eradicate the bloodline for Kazumi. The two fight, with both of them giving off the great final blast, with the shockwave destroying the whole volcano. Hypersomniac Gene wakes up and resolves to fix the state of the world by killing his father. The end. Tekken Tag Tournament. That's what TTT means. The non-canon fighting extravaganza, which might have been canon. The two have been released. One releasing on PS2 in 1999, and the other being released on PS3, Xbox, and Wii U in 2012. They are extra detailed compilation games containing the entirety of the rosters from that time. I'm not covering the stories of every character, but they are great games to celebrate Tekken at two stages in its life. But that thought of them possibly being canon is the fact that the dead Jun Kazama is present in those games, but now she's present in Tekken 8. Literally, this can make or break the series at this point. But it's funny, with cool intro and win animations. Also, the endings are funny. They're great games if you just want Tekken gameplay with all these characters. Also, you have to buy the Wii U edition of TTT2 because there are funny Nintendo skins. Have you ever wanted to see Kazuya in a Mario costume? Now you can. Death by Degrees. You're probably confused. This sounds like a Metal Gear Solid game. It's not. It's a Tekken 5 spin-off. It's an action-adventure stealth game where Nina Williams is tasked with infiltrating a criminal organization by the CIA and MI6. Ooh, double dipping. She was coasting on this mission, just chilling on the criminals' ship, the Amphireite. But when Nina's other mission partner, John Doe, dies, Nina actually has to do something. Oh no. It has some weird Resident Evil camera angle, along with gameplay varies with having normal beat-em-up combos along with firearms. Yeah, like Nina's just running around shooting people and stuff. In the Tekken franchise, she also does like X-ray Mortal Kombat moves before Mortal Kombat 11. Ha! You suck, Mortal Kombat! Anyways, Nina is surrounded by nobody characters we don't care about, with this weird plot twist that John Doe's killer being a double agent. Eventually, the situation gets bad with the ship about to explode, and Nina close to escaping, but then Anna gets in the way. Yay! Anna! Somebody I care about! The two fight, but eventually grab onto a rescue helicopter rope together. But as the two are climbing up, Anna knocks Nina off, leaving Nina to be rescued by boats. Seeing the criminal ship explode, ending Death by Degrees. Closing thoughts. Tekken, am I right? Huh. I hope you stayed through this entire ride. I hope it was a fun ride to witness. I know I cherry-picked characters, and I try my best to cover everything in a timely manner. This is my first ever YouTube upload. I hope it does significantly, even with another video in the same niche. So, to everyone who stuck around, major thanks. I'm not going to beg you for subs or likes. If you want to do that, you can. Enjoy your day or night. Remember, God made you very special, and He loves you very much. Yes, that is from VeggieTales.